Good morning. Oh,
Who are you saying good morning to? Good morning.
good morning, or hello, Nicole.
It's evening over there.
Huh? I know it's evening. So sorry.
Why is there why
What?
why is it repeating?
Do you have YouTube up?
You just said I had everything set up right.
But you might hold on 1 second. We're getting technical difficulties here.
No, it's called chaos difficulties.
Yes, you have it on right there. That's YouTube. That's StreamYards.
Well, you said I had it set up right. So I don't want to hear it. So it's your fault.
It's my fault. It's my fault.
See how I get treated, Nicole?
Okay, cool. All right. What is going on? Good morning.
Good afternoon, good evening,
Yes.
wherever you're from. No, it actually wasn't Eddie's fault.
No, it was my fault. Is that what we're going to do? Every time he screws up, I'm going to get a new deck?
So what do I get when she messes up?
More beer.
Okay. I'll be a drunk son of a bitch.
Hold on 1 second. I'm just getting everything. Likely. I can't spell.
You know, my picture still hasn't come up on my
Your chat?
that thingy. Yeah, it's still just a big circle.
Huh, that's weird. All right. Let's go ahead and get this party started, shall we? As soon as I find the right key. There we go. There we go. How are you? What's going on? Today is True Crime Tuesdays. How was your night last night?
I don't know. I slept.
I don't know. You almost got into a fight.
No, I
know.
stopped the fight.
Yes, he did. He stopped a fight last night at what, 10:30 at night?
Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
But little old me went head to head with 5 people.
Yes.
And I ran them all off.
Yes.
Nicole says, fight? Hell more.
Right?
Nah, there was a couple of drunk natives, a couple of other people, and they're all fishermen. And they were all drunk, standing out, I don't know, about a building away from where we live. And it just started getting nuts. So I just went out there. No, Ron, if that was the case, I would have been fighting.
Hey, Ron, how you doing?
But it was just funny. I mean, all the guys were bigger than I was.
Yeah.
I just ran them all off.
We sat there and we one guy's like, he still wanted to go after the other guy, and we're just like, listen, where are you from? And he's like, Kodiak, and it's like, where are you now? And he's like, Valdez. I'm like, and Eddie just told him, hey, if the cops were to be called, who do you think's going to jail?
Not the guy from Valdez.
Right? So it was, yeah, we were out having a cigarette, and then just people, well, it started because Eddie thought that they were going after somebody he knew.
Yeah, and it's what I thought.
Yeah. And hey, Jim, how are you?
Because we do have a transgender guy in this town that he's trying
really
to become
cool.
female.
Yeah.
And he's a really, really nice person. And I thought that's who they were attacking. So I went after him. Hey, Sid.
Welcome, welcome. So yeah, it was an eventful night last night. I mean, not too eventful. I mean, it dispersed and everything. And of course, Eddie's voice carries, so it's like, get the hell away.
Jim, wait, what does Jim do for a living? Jim, what do you do?
Slow day today.
Well, that's why I'm trying to figure out what he does.
Yeah, Nicole, and that's what it is he's transgendering into a female. And so Eddie, he heard a lot of slang towards something like that. So
faggot.
Yeah. So he thought that they were going after him. So he ran down there and everything. So it was definitely
interesting,
yes, to say the least. We're like where we live, we're like the protectors around our area.
No, not now, Ron. We just had one.
Yeah. If you guys do hear some
security supervisor. Gotcha.
So if you hear noise around, just so you know that they are doing construction around, you shouldn't hear them, but you might. They're tearing up everything and putting new sewer pipes in. So they're constructing.
Nicole did security for 8 years.
Very cool. Right, yeah.
I did security.
The only security I did was babysit the damn Hess trucks.
I did security down in Norfolk, Virginia.
Yeah.
I had to walk the flight decks of the boats.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Oh, nice. My oldest daughter is a security shift supervisor. Very cool, Ron.
Jim, you should be getting ready to retire.
Are you saying he's old?
No, he's been doing it for 20 years. Just so you know, Jim, I did not say that.
In uniform and in normal clothing, caught thieves too in shops, patrols, even guarding the car of the president of France. Wow.
I see.
Wow. That's pretty cool. He said, sure, Eddie.
God damn it, Shadows is going to get me in trouble.
That's good, because usually I'm trying to keep him out of trouble. You know what one thing you did forget to do?
What's that?
Bring the fan in here.
You were the last one in.
That's true, I was.
So, now, this is a double screw up. That's a lot of beer.
I mean, hey, now.
Oh, let me guess, it starts tomorrow?
Yeah, it starts tomorrow. That's awesome. Well, welcome, everybody. Oh, that feels so good. Today is Tuesday. That means it's True Crime Tuesday. And since I don't have an opener today, because I'm lazy and still haven't done it, we are live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Mixer, and Blog Talk Radio. Welcome to True Crime Tuesday, where we'll be discussing true crime, missing 411 cases, and unsolved murders. On the first half of the show, we'll be talking about 5 boys who never came back. They went out to a basketball game and never came back. 5 boys. Then we'll be talking about the Circleville Writer, or what's also known as the poison pen murder.
Hi, Oracles.
Hey, Cassie, how are ya? After that, we'll be discussing the weird vanishing of Susan Adams, and last but not least, the Phantom Killer, the Unsolved Mystery of the Texarkana Murders. We'll be discussing those and more here on today. True Crime Tuesday.
Dun, dun, dun.
And always, I am your host, Shadow of the Moon, along with my lovely, amazing co-host, Chaos Awaits.
She's so lying.
I hope everybody is having a good day. Hello, Joanne. I didn't see her pop in, but I'll take Ron's word.
You'll
Ron's
take his word?
word for it.
See, Ron? Now she's trying to hit on you.
Don't tell Tamara that. No.
She wants to take
I'm
your
still
world.
flustered from that Ninja Genie yesterday.
Okay, where is Joanne?
Oh, because she's with Sid. So
Oh.
Okay.
Okay, hi, Joanne.
Yeah, she wants another deck. That's what it is.
Is that why she's flirting with you?
As always, guys, don't forget, as I roll the credits on the end of the show, head on over to dlive and hype that chat up for the chest opening. And as always, if you are listening to I can't talk today.
It's not Monday.
I know, right? I have no excuse. If you are listening on the podcast portion of this, please always feel free to come over and join the 90 seconds. What the hell are you? Oh, I screwed up.
Oh, that's 3 times.
This is screwed up. That's okay. We're allowed to go over on Blog Talk Radio. You guys didn't hear that. We heard it. But anyway.
I didn't hear nothing.
Oh, you didn't hear nothing either? Okay, well, it told me 90 seconds.
90 seconds what?
Till the end of my show.
How the hell is it
That's
almost
it,
over?
guys. Everybody have a great day. No.
Hey, see you tomorrow.
If you are listening to the podcast portion of this, please feel free to come over and join in the live discussion happening every day, 10 a.m. Alaskan time, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I want to say Eastern Central Time.
She was thinking of Easter.
Maybe. Eastern Standard Time. And yeah, come on over in the chat rooms and discuss.
Well, I want to really quickly thank everybody for all their friends that watched from YouTube yesterday. Because amazingly, we had 50 people view it through YouTube.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool. Easter Bunny, yes, I know. No, I'm thinking of Harvey. You know, researching all this stuff, all these big buddy men keep coming up, and I'm really going to have to do a show on Harvey. If nobody knows what Harvey is, type in movie, search movie for the movie Harvey.
All right, let's get this show on the road.
All right. So the first story we have, this happened in Yuba County, California. 5 boys who never came back, since there was a half a moon that night, a winter moon in a cloudless sky. Up in the mountains above the Feather River, the snowdrifts sometimes rose to 15 feet. Oh, how'd that feel? You need a coat, Ted Wayer's grandmother had said, watching him go. Oh, Grandma, I won't need a coat, Weir had said. Not tonight. 2 hours before midnight, last February, this is in 1978, by the way, February 4th, when the basketball game ended at the California State University of Chico, 5 young men from the flatlands 50 miles to the south climbed into a turquoise and white 1969 Mercury Montego and drove out of the parking lot. They were fans of the visiting team, which had won, and they stopped 3 blocks away at Bears Market, mildly annoying the clerk who was trying to close up. Know how that feels too, and bought one Hostess cherry pie, one Langendorf lemon pie, one Snickers bar, one Marathon bar, 2 Pepsis, and a quart and a half of milk. Then they walked out of the store, got back in the car, drove south out of Chico, and just disappeared. Ted Weir? Hey, Anton, how you doing? Ted Weir woke up afraid at 5 the next morning. She cannot say Ted Weir's grandmother woke up afraid at 5 the next morning. She cannot say what woke her up, except that maybe the Lord decided it was time to end her one last night of a solid sleep. Ted's bed was empty. The house was still. It was not quite light. And this, however, is when the horror began, as it often does. No crash, no wailing, just a dim morning chill in a small house, what ought to be an ordinary day. Imogene Weir got on the phone and called Bill Sterling's mother as fast as she could. Juanita Sterling had been up since 2 a.m. Bill didn't come home either, she said. Mrs. Sterling had already called Jack McDegra's mother. Jack had also not come home. Mrs. Weir called Jackie Hute's mother, and Mrs. Weir's daughter-in-law walked down the street to talk to Gary Matthews, his stepfather. All 5 friends had vanished at 8 p.m. that evening. So Mrs. McDregg called the police. The boys have never done such a thing. They were men, really not boys. Hewitt was the youngest at 24. Weir was 32. But their families called them boys, our boys. They lived at home. 3 of the 5 had been diagnosed as mentally retarded. Magdra, although undiagnosed, according to his mother, was generally thought of slow. Matthews was under drug treatments for schizophrenia, a psychotic depression that first appeared 5 years ago that his doctor says has not resurfaced for the past 2 years. They were supposed to play a basketball game of their own on February 25th, 1978, part of a tournament with a free week in Los Angeles if they won. Their clothes had been laid out the evening of the 24th before they left for Chico. Each had a beige shirt, the words Gateway Gators embezzled on it across the chest from the Yuba City Vocational Rehab Center for Handicap, where they all played basketball. Weir had asked his mother to wash his new white high-top sneakers for the tournament. He had scuffed them while trying them out. Matthews had just about driven his mother crazy with the game. "We got a big game Saturday," Matthews kept saying. "Don't let me oversleep." Saturday came and went, and no word came. The police began to take interest. On Tuesday, February 28th, they found McDrake's mercury, and from that day on, nothing anybody told them seemed to make any sense. The car was 70 miles from Chico on a deserted and rut-ravaged mountain road. It had stopped at a snow line, and although its tires had apparently spun, the car was not really stuck. 5 men easily could have pushed it free. The gas tank was a quarter full. 4 maps, including one in California, lay neatly folded in the glove compartment. The keys were gone, but when the police hotwired the car, the engine started immediately. Both seats were littered with the wrappers of the food bought at Bears. Everything had been eaten except the Marathon bar, which was half gone. And the car's underside was undamaged. This heavy American car with low-hanging muffler and presumably the 5 full-grown men inside had wound up in a stretch of tortuously bumpy mountain road, apparently in total darkness, without a gouge or dent or thick mud stain to show for it. The driver had either used astonishing care and precision, or else he knew the road well enough he knew every rut.
Wow.
The families only McDredd drove that car ever, and the families say that he disliked camping and hated the cold. Did not know that road. So how did he maneuver through every little nook and cranny.
And not damage the undercarriage.
Right. None of the boys knew that road as far as anybody could tell. Once, about 8 years earlier, Bill Sterling had gone fishing with his father at a cabin not far away, but he had not enjoyed himself and stayed home the few times the Sterlings went back.
Yeah, Ron. I believe it's their anniversary today, so I figured you would be out.
Yeah. 3 years ago, the Weir had hunted deer with friends in the Feather River County, but it was quite a way west of the area where the car was found, and his family says he is not keen on the forest either. So none of these boys like camping or being out in the cold or out in nature, with the exception of Matthias, who occasionally stayed out all night with friends. Each of the lost men led mostly stay-at-home lives of such scheduled predictability that no one could fathom what or who might have taken them up that lonely road in the mountains. The deserted trailer. A storm whistled in the day the car was found, dropping 9 inches of snow on the upper mountain. The search team nearly lost men themselves 2 days later as the snowcats struggled through the drifts. Nobody found anything, not so much a shoe, until after the spring thaw, when on June 4th, a small group of Sunday motorcyclists wandered into a desert forest service trailer at the end of the road and inhaled a nauseating smell. It was Ted Weir, stretched out on the bed inside the main 60-foot trailer, frozen to death. 8 sheets had been pulled over his body and tucked around his head. His leather shoes were off and missing. A table by the bed held his nickel ring with Ted engraved in it.
That almost sounds like somebody was actually trying to save his life, not kill him.
His gold necklace, his wallet, with cash inside, and a gold Waltham watch. Its crystal missing, which the family said had not belonged to any of the 5 men. So they found his wallet, his gold necklace, his ring that was engraved,
and somebody else's watch
that didn't belong to any of the 5 men. Weir had been tall, heavy set, foul back in February, 5'11", 200 pounds. By the time his body was found, he had lost from 80 to 100 pounds. His feet were badly frostbitten. The growth of his beard on his face showed that he had lived apparently in starving agony inside the trailer from anywhere from 8 to 13 weeks.
A human body can't go that long with no food.
He was 19.4 miles from the car. Yeah, but the thing of it is his beard growth. You know what I mean?
Well, even when you're dead, your hair's still growing.
That's true. He was 19.4 miles from the car. Weir, wearing a striped velour shirt and light green pants, had walked or run or been somehow taken to moonlight through almost 20 miles of 4 to 6 foot snowdrifts to reach the locked trailer where he died. Why is your chat blank?
No, but nobody's talking.
Okay, my chat's blank.
Can somebody type something? Anything.
What were you going to say, honey? Did you? So he walked 20 miles.
Well, that's another thing I don't. Why in God's name are you walking 20 miles? Thank you, Jim.
I see something. Ron. Do you see Ron? He's mooning.
Oh, wow. It did. Oh, you're talking about that chat?
Yeah.
It did go blank because now I'm all the way back down to the bottom with only 2 people talking.
Okay. Just making sure. But anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Why are you walking that far in that direction? Hey, how'd you even know that trailer was there?
Maybe he wandered. I mean, whatever happened, I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I get it. Do you think it was an abduction?
I don't know. It says the trailer had been broken through a window. The trailer had been broken into through a window. No fire had been built along, although matches were lying around. And there had been paperback novels and wood furniture that would have burned up easily. No problem, Jim. No problem.
That's what I'm
Oh.
typing to him, so you keep going with your story. This is my job.
Oh, sorry. So did you hear that part?
About the magazines and the books that could have went poof.
Yeah, no fire had been built, although matches were laying around. More than a dozen sea ration cans from an outside storage shed had been opened and emptied. One had been opened with an Army P-38 can opener.
Better known as a John Wayne.
Yes, which only Magra and Matthias, who served in the Army, probably knew how to use. But no one had opened a locker in the same shed containing enough dehydrated Mexican dinners and fruit cocktails and assorted other meals to keep all five alive for a year.
Hello, Andy.
Hey, Andy, welcome. No one had touched the propane tank in the other shed outside either. All they had to do was turn that gas on, said Yuba County Lieutenant Lance Ayers, and they'd have gas to the trailer and heat. Although in the spring, the search for the boys had practically consumed Ayers, who had gone to Marysville High School with Burr and his brothers. Although he had not known them well, and there was something about the silent disappearance of 5 strong men that haunted him like nothing he had ever investigated before. Leads were drifting all over from parts of the country. The boys had been seen in Ontario. I'm thinking Canada. That's the only Ontario I know. The boys had been seen in Tampa. The boys had been seen entering a movie theater in Sacramento, accompanied by an older man. Ayers could punch holes in all of them. Skeptical but desperate, they consulted psychics. One told him that the boy had been kidnapped to Arizona and Nevada. Another said the boys had been murdered in Oroville in a two-story red brick stained wood.
That had nothing to do with Redenbacher.
Yeah, with gravel driveway and the number 4723 or 4753.
Bad lag.
For 2 solid days, Ayers drove every street in Oroville, looking for that house, but it did not exist.
I don't know if liquid propane does freeze.
We've never had a problem with it.
No. And I'm guessing that's what the LP is liquid propane.
I don't know, Ron. Does it freeze?
And we live in Alaska, and we lived in our trailer, and our tanks never froze.
Yeah. Knock on wood.
That's kind of scary to think about now.
Right? Before long, he could rattle off the names and vital statistics almost automatically. Theodore Earl Weir. Brown eyes, curly brown hair, handsome beer-bellied, friendly in a trusting child's way. He waved at strangers and brooded for hours if they did not wave back. Got a good chuckle out of phoning Bill Sterling and reading from newspaper items or oddball names from telephone books. Employed for a while as a janitor and a snack bar clerk, but quit at the urging of his family, who thought Weir's slowness would cause him problems. Jackie Charles Hewitt, 24, 5'9", 160, slight droop in the head, slow to respond, a loving shadow to Weir, who looked after Hewitt in a protective sort of way and would dial the phone for him when Hyatt had to make a call. So this guy, this lieutenant knew these kids. It bothered him so much.
Okay, let's go to Ron's comment, though, about how liquid propane can freeze at certain temperatures.
Okay.
Why then, when they did the investigation, if they told them they could have turned on the gas, they would have had heat?
Right.
So it must not have been cold enough
for it to freeze.
At
that point in time.
But cold enough for him. Did he starve to death or did he freeze to death?
Right. So Jack Anton Madrag, 5 feet 11 inches, 190 pounds, high school graduate and Army veteran, brown eyes, brown hair, heavy set, laid off in November from his job as a busboy, from Sunsweet Growers. William Lee Sterling, 5 feet 10, 170 pounds, dark brown hair, blue eyes, Medra's special friend, deeply religious, would spend hours at the library reading literature to help bring Jesus to patients in mental hospitals. And Gary Dale Matthews, 5 foot 10, 170 pounds, brown hair, hazel eyes, 25, assistant in his stepfather's gardening business, Army veteran with a psychiatric discharge after drug problems that developed in Germany 5 years ago. Again, this is in 1978. By late spring, Ayers was dreaming about the boys at night. Once he woke up in darkness, arms stretched out. He had almost embraced all 5. This is the Lieutenant Ayers, that was on the case.
Hi, Lisa. Hi, Lucid.
Hey, Lucid. Hey, Lisa. How you guys doing? Welcome. Hope everybody's doing well. You do a lot of handshaking, Ayers said, and a lot of drinking and whistling noises.
Wait a minute.
at the
Why
night.
are you talking about me?
There was the man who saw lights on the road, Joseph Schoen, 55, told police he drove his Volkswagen Bug up the same road sometime after 5:30 the evening the boys disappeared. He said he was checking the snow line because he wanted to bring his wife and daughter up that weekend. His car got stuck in the snow just above the snow line, about 50 yards beyond the place where the mercury was found. And as Schoen was trying to free his car, he had a heart attack. Doctors later confirmed to the investigator that Schoen had indeed suffered a mild heart attack.
You said drinking and shake a lot of hands. See what Jim just said?
Right? Eddie Evans, she's talking about me at work, LOL. Schoen's lay in the car with the engine on because he was having a heart attack and the car heater going. He said sometime in the night he heard what described as whistling noises a little way down the road.
Now, didn't you say that the people that were looking for the 5 boys heard a whistling noise? Or was it the night they were looking for the boys? The next day or something?
I don't recall saying that. I mean, I'll go back and look at it.
There was a whistling storm or something.
Oh, no, yeah. Well, there was a storm brewing. A whistling storm, that's what they call
But
it.
now he's saying that he heard whistling.
Right. So he heard what he described as whistling noises a little way down the road, and he got out of his car. What he saw looked like a group of men and a woman with a baby, he said, walking in a glare of vehicles' headlights. He thought he heard them talking. Schoen said he yelled for help because he was having that heart attack. But the headlights went out and the talking stopped. Schoen got back into his car and lay down again. He said sometime later, maybe a couple hours, he saw lights outside his window, flashlight beams. He said again he called for help, and the lights went out and whoever was there went away. Schoen said he lay there in the car until it ran out of gas, and then while it was still dark, he walked back 8 miles to the lodge. Lucky he didn't have another heart attack. And called Mountain House, where he had stopped for a drink before heading up the road, just below his Volkswagen in the place where he had heard the voices. He passed the Mercury Montego sitting in the empty in the middle of the road. So he saw the car when he was trying to trek back.
The boys' car.
Yeah. But like he said, he saw the lights, the headlights and that, the 5 boys and what looked like a woman with a baby.
Sounds a little weird.
The days after Weir's body was discovered, searchers found the remains of Modrog and Sterling. They lay on the opposite side of the road to the trailer, 11.4 miles from the car. Medrick had been partially eaten by animals and dragged about 10 feet to a stream. He lay face up, his right hand curled around his watch. Sterling was in a wooded area, scattered over about 50 feet. There was nothing left in him but bones. 2 days later, just off the same road, but much closer to the trailer, Jackie Hewitt's father found his son's backbone. I couldn't imagine being a parent searching for your kids, you know. Ayers had tried to talk him out of joining the search, fearing something like that might happen. But Hewitt, whose first name is Jack, had insisted on going. There were a few other bones around along Jackie's Levis and Rippled sold get their shoes. An assistant sheriff from Plumas County found a skull the next day, about 100 yards downhill from the rest of the bones. The family dentist identified the teeth as that of Jackie Hewitt.
Okay, now here's the part I'm not going to understand. How are they finding all these bones? If it's wintertime, the body ain't going to decompose.
This is after the
body's not going to decompose. It's been preserved and it's freezing.
Right.
So even that shortly after a thaw, the body ain't going to decompose to the point where it's just bone.
Right. Hewitt's remains had lain, well, the one was partially eaten, so it might have been
bears.
Could have been bears.
I don't know. Ron thinks it was Bigfoot looking for dinner.
Could be Bigfoot.
Sasquatch. Yeah.
His name's Daryl. It's not Bigfoot no more.
Oh, that's right. I seen that commercial. Progressive commercial.
Yes. Hewitt's remains had lain north of the trailer like Sterling's and Maggard's. Northwest of the trailer, about a quarter-mile away, searchers found 3 wool Forest Service blankets and 2 cell flashlights lying by the side of the road. The flashlight was slightly rusted and been turned off. It was impossible just to tell how long it was there. But they found no sign of Gary Matthews. His tennis shoes were inside the Forest Service trailer, which suggested to investigators that he might have taken them off to put on Ware's leather shoes, particularly since Ware had bigger feet and Matthews' feet might have swollen with frostbite. But that's pure conjecture, which is all they had. State mental institutions have received a description of Matthews: slender, dark-haired, double vision without his glasses. He was not carrying his billfold when he left the house for Chico basketball game, so he had no identification on him. And if he's still alive, he has been without the drugs he needed for the last 4 months. Matthews took his medicine weekly, as he had for the last 3 years. Stelazine and Cogdin, both used in the treatment of schizophrenia. His family says the illness appeared 5 years ago when he was in the army in Germany. Police records show that he became violent on occasion. He was charged with assault twice, and there was definitely a difficult period after his return from Germany, when Matthews would fail to take his drugs and lapse into this disoriented psychosis that usually landed him in a veterans admin hospital. He went haywire, is how Bob, his stepfather, put it. For the last 2 years, though, Matthews had been working steadily on his stepfather's business and was taking his medication so faithfully that the local doctor who knew Matthews calls him one of our sterling success cases. He collected Army psychiatric He collected Army psychotic disability pay with enormously attached to it. He was enormously attached to his family, loved basketball games he shared with the other 4 men, and listening to Rolling Stones and Olivia Newton-John and the record player in the living room. Klopp says his stepson took his medicine the week he had disappeared, but he and the doctor said Matthews had not gone haywire in 2 years. What I looked for all the time, I was up there, were his glasses, said Klopp. I didn't think the bear would eat that. He was sitting in the dining room table, his voice gruff, and he was tired of reporters and tired of the pain and tired of not understanding what happened to the boy.
Chat keeps disappearing.
Because it does that after a while.
That's the first time I've seen it happen.
Everybody's listening and not chatting.
No. That's not what I meant. It just keeps disappearing.
Right. That's what it does. It don't stay up there forever.
Well, I just went bye-bye. My I know Andy just went. Okay, go ahead.
So he was sitting in his dining room, his voice gruff. He tired of reporters and tired of the pain and tired of not understanding what happened to the boy. Ida Klopp, across the table from him, said he had not turned on her television in weeks because she does not want to find out any other way. She says she is going back up there on the weekend, back to see if she can find something the searchers missed. There's no place to look, Ida, said Bill. Or not Bill, Clough. I'll find some place, said Mrs. Clough, turning her face away. 1,000 leads. Bizarre, says John Thompson, the special agent from California Department of Justice who joined the heirs in the investigation, and no explanations. And 1,000 leads. Every day we got 1,000 leads. They learned that a Forest Service snowcat ran up the road in a trailer on February 23rd, and they disappeared on February 24th, leaving a packed path in the snow that the boys might have followed. They took on a water witcher. They took on a water witcher from the town up north called Paradise with a water witcher, who said they had fixed it so his divining rod would pick up traces of human minerals. Oh, yeah, dowsing rods, the old types in the V
With
or
the
the
wood?
Y, huh?
The wood? Wood dowsing rods?
Yeah, I think they used wood back then.
Kind of like what they used when they were looking for water.
That's what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah,
So yeah, they were made out
I've
of
never
wood.
heard it called a wood witcher before, or a water witcher.
Well, actually, that's what they first were. Is
Right.
They were used to find water sources.
The divining rod would pick up traces of human minerals and then lead the searchers to a deserted cabin near an abandoned car. They found a gray cigarette lighter, the disposable plastic kind, about 3/4 of a mile northwest of the trailer. The family said none of the boys carried a lighter. They found that gold watch beside Wara's body. They discovered that Gary Matthews, known people in Forbestown, which is about halfway around Chico and Yuba cities, on a road with a turnoff so easy to miss that anybody driving late at night might have ended heading north toward the mountains and lost. So that could have been where he was trying to go, but he missed the road. But like Era says, none of that helped. The cabin found by the water witcher was empty. The cigarette lighter might have been dropped by a hiker, and the watch might have belonged to a forest ranger in the trailers months earlier. Matthews' friends in Forbestown said they had not seen him for over a year. And suppose they followed the snowcat's tracks. Suppose that's where Weir made it through 20 miles of deep snow. Why? Why abandon a perfectly operational car to strike in the forest in midnight?
That's what it's confusing part.
Right. Why press on through 20 miles of snowdrifts and darkness to break a unheated trailer, or to break into a locked, unheated trailer and die? Why drive all the way up there in the first place? And how? If someone chased them, why was the car undamaged?
But now here's a question. That guy that had the heart attack,
Yeah,
if he walked back 8 miles, okay, he went 8 miles in the opposite direction.
Right.
But these guys went 20 miles.
right.
Did he ever really report that car when he got back into town that it was there?
I don't know. And they said, what was the whistling noises and the voices Shones heard on the road? It doesn't add up. There was some force that made him go up there, Jack Medra's mother Mabel said firmly. They wouldn't have fled in the woods like a bunch of quail. We know good and well that somebody had to have made him do it. We can't visualize someone getting the upper hand on 5 men, but I know it must have been. They seen something at the game. Did they see something at the game in the parking lot? Said Ted Ware's sister-in-law. They might have seen it and didn't even realize they seen it. I can't understand why Gary would have been that scared, says Klops. Even a fire, he says. All those paperbacks, and they didn't even build a lousy fire.
When they had matches.
Yeah, I can't understand why they didn't do it unless they were afraid.
Well, but would they be? Well, hold on. A fire might have given away their location.
That's what he's saying, yeah. But he can't imagine what they were afraid of. Neither can the investigators. They can't prove there was foul play, and they can't explain if there wasn't. They don't know if Gary Mattis has died. They think he is. They think his body is probably laying in the snow until spring thaw and eased him down deep, some kind of thick green patch of the mountains. So, like, when it thawed, it drug his body down.
Yeah, he kind of slid down with the snow.
But it's never been solved. And that's the end of that. What would make these 5 guys just go? I mean, I can understand him missing the road. They said if you miss this road, you'd end up going up the mountains. But he hadn't seen the guys that lived down that road in over a year.
Right, Andy? And I get that. But the part I'm confused about, not really confused, is if this guy had a heart attack in his car and he turns around, he walks 8 miles, he knows what direction to go.
Right.
And he walks 8 miles.
Right.
These guys get out their car and walk 20 miles. At least one of them did.
Right.
To a trailer. Why? But this guy did.
But it goes back to what the family says too, is they don't think those boys knew that road.
Okay, but the guy that walked past their car.
Right.
Did he ever report this when he got?
Probably not.
And just saying, hey, there might be a car stuck up there in trouble.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean?
Probably not. He was, because the people wouldn't help him.
But he doesn't know if there was actually people there.
Yes, he said he saw.
He's having a heart attack.
Right, but he said he saw the 5 boys and it looked like a woman with a baby. He called out help. Same when he saw the flashlights in his car.
But where'd the woman come from?
I don't know. That's what he saw.
Well, I mean, I know, right, Jim? Was it Sasquatch?
I'm telling you.
But
something definitely spooked them to drive them away from each other. That's what I can't imagine.
And they all went in different directions.
Yeah. It's kind of like the double pass in Russia.
So were they actually being stalked, chased, followed, and they figured we'll just split up because it can't follow us all?
I don't know. It's crazy.
You're right, Nicole. It is strange.
And these were 5 boys. Now you got to remember, even though they were older, 24 to I think 32, as they said.
Yeah.
They were, even though they were men, they were. I think back to I don't think autism was. I think they were more on the autism side.
Well, that's what they're
what
saying.
It sounds like. Yeah.
They were slightly autistic.
Yeah. They were highly functional.
Right. They were disabled, but could still manage themselves.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't seem like that, Nicole. We don't even know if there was a killer involved.
Yeah. Yeah, because they didn't say anything about the bodies being like stab wounds or any,
the one body was half eaten.
Yeah.
So that was done by animals, obviously.
Yeah, obviously. But it's crazy.
Well, that kind of makes sense, Andy, but that doesn't explain how the one body was half eaten.
Well, that's what he's saying. They got killed.
He says killed by man, disposed by nature.
Or a grizzly, yeah. But I mean, it's just nuts.
There's so many. I'm not going to say holes, but there's so many things that are unexplained.
Yeah, and that's probably what drove Lieutenant Ayers. You all right?
No, my ear's ringing and it really, really hurt inside the headphone.
Oh, baby, I'm
Because
sorry.
it was like a feedback into my own ear.
Oh. What's really I don't know. That's but I was saying that's what kept Lieutenant Ayers up at night is because he had so many questions.
And,
Yeah.
and nobody has answers.
Yeah. It's nuts.
Another thing too, what the hell took the parents so long to say, hey, wait a minute, something ain't right?
No, they found that their kids weren't home the next morning.
Oh, the parents did?
Yeah. That's why there was a chain of it.
Oh, it was the next day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because the grandma woke up to notice Weir wasn't in his bed.
Oh, all right. I didn't catch it was the next morning.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they were right on it. It wasn't like the other kid's mom had been up since 2 a.m. You know what I mean?
And that's why I was like, I am not Mr. Shadows. I'll take it though. But yeah, the way I understood it, I thought it was like a day or two.
Right.
But if they know they have, even though they're high functional,
right,
they get disabilities, you figured they'd be all over.
Yeah, and that's what happened. So the next case we have is called the Circleville Writer, also known as the Poison Pen Writer. Poison Pen Murderer. So this happened in 1976. Okay. In Circleville, Ohio. Residents began receiving strange letters detailing personal information about their lives. Bus driver Mary Gillespie was accused of supposedly a non-existent affair with the superintendent of schools. The writer told Mary that he or she had been observing her house and knew she had children. It was postmarked from Columbus, Ohio, but had no return address. Within 8 days, Mary received a similar letter. She kept the letters to herself until her husband, Ron, received one as well. The letter stated that if Ron did not stop his wife's affairs, his life would be in danger.
Now, picture that. She's having an affair, supposedly. But if she don't stop, his life is in danger.
Yeah.
I just had to, clarify that.
Right. After 2 weeks, the writer threatened to go public with the affair allegations, broadcasting it on TVs, CB radios, and billboards. Mary and Ron only told 3 people about the letters. Ron's sister, her husband, Paul, and Paul's sister. Okay. Mary had some ideas of who might be sending the letters. They decided to have Paul write letters to the suspect, claiming they knew who he or she was. The plan seemed to work. The letters stopped for several weeks. But what I don't understand is they wrote them back. How the hell they don't have a post?
Exactly. It just has a post stamp from what city and state it came from.
That's weird.
So who did they send this letter to?
That changed on August 19th, 1977. However, when Ron received a phone call from the alleged writer, the call seemed to confirm Ron's suspicions on the identity of the writer. He grabbed his gun and left in his pickup, even though the writer claimed to be watching the truck. Right, that's true, Andy. That's true.
Will you let me do my damn job?
Easy to type out. We'll do it and state what he says because we're on podcast.
I can't when you're talking.
I know. Easy to type out 2 letters to yourself and spouse and then claim to know nothing about where they came from. Yeah, that's definitely true. That is true.
But the biggest question in there is where did they send
the letter to?
The letters back to?
So anyway, like I said, the call seemed to confirm Ron's suspicion on the identity of the writer. He grabbed his gun and left his pickup truck. left in his pickup truck, even though the writer claimed to be watching the truck. A few minutes later, Ron was found dead in his pickup truck, crashed into a tree.
Don't read what Andy just wrote. Retract it, Andy. Hurry.
He can retract it all he wants. I can still see it on the big screen.
God damn it.
Good try, though. Good try.
I'll try to protect you.
So did you hear that?
Yeah.
He left in his truck. And
even though his truck was being watched.
A few minutes later, Ron was found dead in his pickup truck.
Now.
Crashed into a tree.
He crashed into it. So did the brakes give out?
Well, let me finish.
Well, I tried to get you to, but you keep.
Investigators later learned that Ron had fired at least one shot from his gun before crashing. Sheriff Dwight Redcliffe questioned and eliminated at least one suspect in the case. He then ruled Ron's death an accident, claiming that he had lost control and crashed while driving drunk. However, several residents soon received letters stating that Sheriff Redcliffe had been involved in a cover-up.
Really?
So now more people are getting letters. According to Paul, Sheriff Redcliffe initially agreed that the death was a result of foul play. However, he allegedly changed his mind when the suspect passed a polygraph test. Ron's blood alcohol level was 0.16, which was twice the legal limit. However, many of Ron's families and friends were surprised by this. They did not think that he was a heavy drinker.
You don't have to be a heavy drinker.
No, but that's stressful. If you think your wife's having an affair, and
well, it's not like that.
I'm not making excuses.
If I have a beer right now, and within 3 hours I die, and they take me and they draw my blood, I'm gonna be over the legal limit.
Right. Mary and the superintendent later acknowledged their relationship. Did you hear that, hon?
Wait a minute. The sheriff?
No. Mary and the superintendent.
Oh, the superintendent.
Later acknowledged a relationship.
But what did the sheriff do to cover anything up?
Because he said that it was Ron's death in the truck was an accident and not foul play. He initially said foul play, and then he changed it to say it was an accident.
Yeah, that don't make sense. Why would he have fired a gun from the inside of his truck?
Exactly.
Okay.
Although they claim they did not, their relationship did not start until after the letters were sent. In February of 1983, Mary was harassed along her bus route. The letter writer apparently began placing threatening signs next to the road. Can you imagine you're driving all these children and there's these...
You're going to die.
Yeah. One day, Mary had enough and decided to go and rip the sign down. When she did, she discovered a booby trap designed to kill her. The trap had a box which contained a small pistol. If Mary had pulled the sign off a certain way, the gun would have fired.
Well, then whoever set up the trap sucks. Because no matter how the sign was written down, the gun should have went off.
An amateurish attempt was made to rub off the serial number of the gun.
Freaky Geek, how you doing?
Hey, Freaky Geek. When lab tests were able to raise the number, it was determined that the gun belonged to Paul Fresher.
Now, who the hell was that? The superintendent?
No, Paul Fresher was the brother-in-law of Ron. Who had recently separated from Ron's sister. Ron was the husband.
Right.
Paul was Ron's sister's husband. One of the initial three people that they told.
Hold on. Who was the guy? Ron, right?
Ron was the husband.
It had the wife.
Yes. We've just established this because we yelled at Ron.
Yes. Right from the word go. And then, who was this other guy?
Paul.
Which was the wife's brother-in-law. So
it was Ron's brother-in-law.
It was Ron. How can it be Ron's brother-in-law if he's not the brother of the wife? How many sisters does Ron have?
I don't know.
Ron, you are really screwing this up. Right next to see Ron and Chad is part of today's storyline. Yes, he is freaky geek.
It was Ron's sister's husband.
But they don't even talk about his sister.
Yes, they did, because she was one of the initial. If you listen when I talk.
Well, if I wasn't typing, y'all got to understand.
Y'all get it, right?
If I talk or if I type while she's talking and I'm trying to talk to her, I am going to type the conversation that I can't concentrate. All right. So we got this established.
Yes. When lab tests were able to raise the number, it was determined that the gun belonged to Paul Fresher, who had recently separated from Ron's sister. Paul, however, claimed that the gun had been stolen.
Don't worry, freaky. I've been here the whole time and I still don't get it.
This is true, Andy, since when do men listen when women talk? That is true. Oh. On February 25th, okay, here we go. Ready? On February 25th, 1983, Sheriff Radcliffe asked Paul to meet with him and take a handwriting test. He asked Paul to try and copy the handwriting from the letters. Sheriff Radcliffe also had him write the letters while repeating them verbally. After the test, Paul took Sheriff Radcliffe to his garage and showed him where he kept his gun.
Welcome, Seth.
Hey, Seth, how are ya? Afterwards, the two returned to the courthouse where Paul was arrested and charged with attempted murder. So apparently the handwriting came back.
Okay. But they already said that the sheriff did a cover-up saying that it wasn't foul play, that it was an accident.
Right,
so
yeah.
who is to say?
Oh, he was well, anyway, on October 24th, 1983, he went on trial for attempted murder of Mary Gillespie, the one who pulled down the sign. She said did it the right way.
The driver.
Yeah. Although he was never charged with writing the threatening letters, they became a crucial part of evidence against him. A handwriting expert testified that Paul was the letter writer. Mary also testified that she believed he was the writer after his wife visited her with the same suspicion.
Oh,
Paul,
his wife?
Yeah, which would be Ron's sister.
I get that part.
Okay, well, you were confused before.
That was before. This is now.
Paul's boss also testified that he was not at work on the day that the booby trap was found. Paul had an alibi for most of the day, however. He never took the stand in his defense. For claiming his innocence, he was convicted and given 7 to 24-year sentence. While there, listen now. While there, he himself received letters from the writer, determined to keep him there. Others still received letters postmarked from Columbus, even though he was in prison in Lima. Even though he was in solitary confinement, the letters kept arriving.
Well, you still get mail even if you're in solitary confinement.
Right.
You just don't get to see daylight and shit. You see what Freaky Geek put.
He's not wasting it, Mr.
You must not weigh much, Mr. Shadow, as you can. Hey, actually, Lisa, I weigh a lot more than you think. I'm pretty good over 200 pounds.
So in December of 1990, Paul became eligible for parole. He was denied parole due to the letters, even though there was no way that he could be sending them. In May of 1994, Paul was finally paroled. He continued to maintain his innocence. However, the author of the letters has never been revealed. Journalist Martin Yan has investigated the story and found another possible suspect that could be the writer. He also discovered that 20 minutes before Mary found the booby trap, another bus driver on Mary's route had seen a suspicious man standing next to a yellow El Camino.
So it couldn't have been him if he was in jail.
No, this is the booby trap. 20 minutes before Mary found the booby trap, another bus driver on her route had seen a man standing next to a yellow El Camino.
Okay, so this was on the same day. Right. Now when Paul was accused.
Right.
Okay.
The man was at the same spot where the trap would have been later found. Yet found that the possible suspect's brother owned the same type of car.
Did you say the suspect's brother?
Yep.
So they had identity pretty close to the same vehicle.
Right. The description does not match Paul, and he had a solid alibi at the specific time. Now, here's where it gets weird, okay? They were doing this story for Unsolved Mysteries. Okay, you guys remember the show Unsolved Mysteries?
It's still on, I think.
No, they're rebooting it.
Oh,
it's not still
oh,
on.
okay.
Because I believe, I forgot who the host was. I believe he passed away.
Really? Oh, wow, yeah. He was up
older
there
in
in
that
his
show,
age
yeah.
anyways.
Yeah. In December of 1993, a postcard arrived at the Unsolved Mysteries office that stood out from the rest. It was a threat designed to keep us from telling, and this is from the Unsolved Mysteries, unsolved.com, kept us from telling the following story. It read in part, "Forget Circleville, Ohio. If you come to Ohio, you El Sickos will pay." It was signed the Circleville Writer.
So the people that they had accused, the people that they had and thrown in jail and it was none of them.
Okay, that's
I don't know.
That's kind of scary. I think it's the tractors.
I just want to let you guys know. I know we still got an hour to go, but there could be a chance where we just have to get off here and leave. One thing about the town we live in Alaska is whenever there's road work done or whatever, the shift of the weight and everything will cause earthquakes in this town. So just to give you guys a heads up in case we disappear real quick. Christians were white in the UK, probably why we have so many fat looking. Andy was flirting with me.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, he said black made me look slim.
No, but Ron, good question. But no, actually, I just read a comment from the Stephanie on the unsolved.com, Poison Pen Murders. She said it wasn't just Mary and her husband getting the letters. There were many folks in Circleville that got letters. Mary's case stands out and is getting the most of the attention due to her husband dying and also the affair. The focus should have not been on, or the focus should have been on everyone that received the letters, and maybe they would have found out who it was. Obviously, it was someone who knew everyone's business.
Exactly. I mean, she's like the town snitch.
Whoever the writer was. Yeah,
her or him.
Yeah, they knew everybody in town. So, you know what I mean? It reminds me, I swear, it reminds me of the watcher of the house where they got letters.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a creepy town, I'm telling you. Towns develop creepiness.
And they still never figured out who wrote them letters.
Yeah.
Hey, Seth. I said hi earlier. You must not have heard me over her mouth.
Probably not.
I would not. Hey, if desperate times calls for different measures, just hopefully you got sandpaper with you before you do it. Okay, let's get back on topic.
Okay.
So this guy Paul did how many years?
I think he ended up because he got denied parole.
No, he got approved parole when he went
the second time.
So he did about 20 years.
Yeah.
On a crime that he never committed. And the only way
still says he's innocent.
And the only way he got out of all of this and got parole was showing them letters that he was receiving in prison in solitary confinement.
Right.
Is there a chance that he mailed these letters and had them sent back to himself?
I don't know. It depends. No problem, Jim.
Oh, what happened?
Nice.
Sorry, back up busy. Then I did some. Oh, Jesus Christ. What'd you buy me?
But yeah, I mean, the thing of it is like that comment said.
Oh my God. Andy is he's getting out of hand again.
The thing of it is with that, I wish there was more to the story.
Yeah, because it's...
If everybody had, I understand they focused on Mary's story because of her husband dying and the whole affair and everything. But it wasn't just her, it was the whole town. Towns, I'm telling you, there are some towns in this world
that are totally screwed
up.
The
whole town is like full of mad people.
Who is crazier than who?
Yeah.
And the way this story ends, it's like a movie you watch. It has left it to where there can be a sequel.
Well, what if they do in the new boot up? They start to do that, and they get another letter. That would be awesome. Well, it wouldn't be awesome, but I mean, why would you write? I mean, somebody had don't do the story of the Circleville Writer.
You sickos will pay.
Yeah. You El-sickos. Who writes like that?
El-sickos.
Yeah.
All right, so now you're telling me you're of Spanish descent. But could that be just something to throw off the trail?
I don't know. The guy had an El Camino.
That is a friggin' American car.
Yeah, I know. Everybody liked El Caminos.
I did when they first came out.
I hate El Caminos.
But then as they went on, they just didn't.
I think they were the ugliest freaking things.
Oh, Freaky Geek, I'm with you. Yep.
I read it. I read that too in Freaky Geek right before we went live.
There ain't no way in hell. You're right, Freaky. Screw that. Whoa! I missed something. What? I'm come to see me next full moon. Freaky elbows. Hey, Jim. What did I do to you?
A neon wolf LED poster. Oh, that has to look nice in a Batman shirt.
All right, what other story do we got?
We got the weird vanishing of Susan Adams.
Oh, you guys, because it's True Crime Tuesday, I am actually impressed that next week I have found a story. And it's one Shadows I hadn't found. And it's actually pretty good.
Yeah. He's starting to do research for the shows.
Yeah, look at me. I'm trying to get a raise. Or at least get paid.
He's getting there. He's getting there, guys. So this is the weird vanishing of Susan Adams. Susan Adams, 42, and her husband Tom of Austin, Texas, had been looking forward to their next big camping trip for the months. They're both avid campers. Now, this is important. They're both avid campers, hunters, and bird watchers. Their plan was to take on a wilderness tour with a group called Iron Horse Outfitters. Their destination being a protected wilderness area near the Idaho-Montana border called the Selway Bitterroot Wilderness. Lying along the Bitterroot mountain range is a rugged domain of thick forests and alpine parkland that spans 1.3 million acres, making it one of the largest such wilderness areas in the entire country. The couple was very excited about exploring it. They both had experience with the outdoors, and they were going in with a reputable wilderness tour company and seasoned guides in good spirits. There was no reason to suspect this would any way be other than a trip of a lifetime. But this was an excursion that only one of them would return from. On September 22nd, 1990, the couple arrived in Idaho Falls ready for their adventure and met with the owner of the tour company, Art Griffin. Before heading out a few days later to take a long horseback ride through the pristine wilderness in the outfitters' camp in the Battle Lake area. There they would greet by the rest of the crew. There they would be greeted by the rest of the crew, consisting of a group of hunters, guides, and camp cooks. Then they spent about a week leisurely exploring the area, hunting and engaging in their hobby of birdwatching, before Tom decided to go out on September 29th with some of the camp hunters for an overnight hunting trip. Susan decided that she would stay behind at camp, and after escorting her husband by horseback to the ridge, she said her goodbyes and returned to camp. No one at that time realized that this would prove to be their final goodbyes. The following day, at around 9 a.m., Susan decided to go do some bird watching at a nearby meadow. The weather was clear and calm, and she only had her light clothing, her binoculars, and her camera. The meadow was nearby and was an easy short hike away, so when she told the camp cook that she was headed over there, no one thought anything of it.
Yeah, because it's only a hop, skip, and a jump.
Yeah, and she's a seasoned hiker anyway, so you know what I mean? She walked off, but never came back. No one in the camp seemed to really be all that alarmed, as it was a nice day.
Hi, Eli.
Hey, Eli.
I hope you're enjoying your anniversary.
Thank you, Eli.
See, they were talking about pizza, and Eli shows up.
Yeah, see. So it didn't cross. No one in camp seemed to be really all that alarmed, as it was a nice day. The meadow was so close, and Susan did not say anything about when she planned to return. You know.
So she just wanted to go out.
Check out and go bird watching, and
do her thing.
Her husband did the overnight hunt.
Okay.
So she was by herself. Now, you know what I mean? Just wanted to chill and do her own thing. It didn't even cross anyone's mind that something was amiss until Tom came back from his hunting trip in the late afternoon, and she's still not returned.
And how long has it been now?
The next day.
It is him.
Yeah, it's breaking up the asphalt.
Yeah.
Tom waited a while, but as darkness began to creep in, he became worried. He went out towards the meadow where he found footprints that led down the trail. Oddly, he claims that at some point the tracks just abruptly ended right in the middle of the dusty trail, with no sign of leading off anywhere. So there's footprints in this trail.
But they go off into nowhere.
No. They abruptly stop.
Okay, so they go off into nowhere. They just stop.
Right. Okay.
Eli, have a good day, buddy.
Take care, Eli.
I will see you tomorrow. Hey, what time tomorrow, Eli, are you going to start this?
According to Tom, it was unsettling, as if she had simply vanished right there on the spot. He would say, I followed the footprints to a place about 20 yards from where the tracks stopped. He looked everywhere for more footprints, but there were none, and his desperate calls out into the trees were answered only by the sounds of a darkening forest. He was then joined by the camp guides and the hunters. Many of them experienced trackers, but they had no more success. And sometimes scouring the area with no sign of Susan, night was finally upon them, forcing them to abandon their efforts and just hope that Susan made her way back. The following morning, Susan was still gone, and so the authorities were notified of the disappearance. A large-scale search was launched over the entire area for miles around, but nothing whatsoever was found, and the operation had to be suspended due to cold and snowy weather moving in, which was worrying since Susan had not brought any warm clothes or survival gear with her. The search then resumed with renewed efforts to find the woman, as though every minute lost was dangerous if Susan was still alive at all. Aircraft, dogs, and hundreds of volunteers meticulously combed the area, even walking side by side at arm's length apart through a large stretch of wilderness to leave no stone unturned. Some scattered footprints were found that indicated perhaps someone who was injured, but they were so faded and unclear that it was not positive that they belonged to Susan Adams at all.
Well, yeah, because it wouldn't make sense if her footprints just stopped.
Well, now they have everybody out there, the dogs, the, helicopters, aircraft, hundreds of volunteers. The theory that was brewing among law enforcement officials at the time that she must have gotten injured and died out there. And before the official search was closed for winter, Sheriff Randy Baldwin would say this: I believe beyond any reasonable doubt that Susan Adams died from injuries or other related causes due to being lost or hurt in the wilderness area near Battle Lake. I also believe that Susan Adams remains are still in that area, but I feel that any future organized search would not be effective in locating her remains.
Well, if it's out in a remote area like that,
1.3 million acres.
Not only that, it could have been the body could have been pulling into a cave. It could have been, you're talking condors.
The family, who was so desperate that they even hired a psychic, who rather eerily came into the same conclusion, predicting that Susan had sustained a head injury and perished not too far from camp. Yet, if this is all correct, then why haven't they found any trace of remains, or indeed any sign of her at all, despite such a detailed search? Another idea that was that a wild animal might have attacked her